Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Shelbyville NOW Sports Live. I'm David Thomas. This is Mr. Bill Anderson, Mr. Kenny Parker.
Hey.
Glad to have you guys again this morning. We've got a lot to talk about in high school sports and college football playoff, and we're going to get a little NFL report and just sports in general. Got a lot of things going on, but I want to stop now and thank our sponsors, First Bank here of Shelbyville. Also, Case XX Pocket Knives and Collectibles, and Duke Cannon products. And Kenny, I know you really like your Duke Cannon stuff, and you come out with your guns blazing again this morning.
I'm telling you right now, I love my Gunsmoke soap.
Gunsmoke
I'm
soap.
telling you,
Yeah,
it's
good.
probably as good a soap as I've used in a long time. And we'll be having some more of it at the Parker House.
That's good to hear. And also, we've got our case knives out here on display this morning. They are available at the Winter Circle along with the Duke Cannon soap. Run by there and check out their selection. It's Christmas shopping time, guys, and I know this right here makes a wonderful stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
So
I guarantee
I
it.
mean, some of them.
all right, guys, let's get in ahead first with the football playoffs. We got the championship games going on. We had 3 last night. We had 1A, 3A, and 5A
Yeah,
playing
1, 3,
yesterday.
5 yesterday.
And 2, 4, and 6
2,
today.
4, and 6 today.
So Middle Tennessee didn't fare too well yesterday. We had Page got beat.
But the team Page lost to had beaten Alcoa,
Right.
had beaten Maryville, and had beaten Clinton.
And they're undefeated.
And they're undefeated.
Yeah.
Arguably, I'd love to see them and Oakland play. They're probably the 2 best teams
Yeah.
in
In the state and all classes.
in all classes.
So that's Knoxville West that they lost.
Knox
to.
West.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. So
It's 47-13.
yeah. What other scores do you have there, Bill?
McKenzie, what a season for them over there in West Tennessee. 34-14 over Clay County.
You know,
McKenzie's pretty good.
McKenzie's 29-1 in the last 2 years.
That's
Wow.
pretty good.
Only game they lost last year was the South Pittsburgh in the state championship game. So they were 14-0 going in both state championship games. Lost last year and won this year. Pretty dang good.
Alcoa beat East Nashville 45-26. And
Heard
I
on,
mean, state championships.
heard
have
on the
Alcoa.
radio this morning, this is Alcoa's 8th state.
Wow.
champ- They said, what do you call that? Optical
Factor.
Factor or whatever, 8 in a row
Oh gosh,
with a new coach.
that's pretty impressive.
The guy that's their head coach now was their defensive
Mhm.
coordinator for years, and said he could probably hold any.
Isn't that where Rankin went? That's where
That's where
Alcoa
Rankin was.
was.
Yes.
All right. So
He
tonight,
No, he's at Boyd Buchanan.
Boy, Buchanan.
big game tonight. Oakland against Beach.
Oakland Beach, and here in the midday, I don't think I'm going to be able to get there, but Coach Johnny Frost, that coached for me, was the head coach at
Right,
Community.
yeah.
They played Tyner Academy for
Tyner,
the state
yeah.
championship today in 2A.
Okay, and then what else have we
Anderson
got?
County,
And-
Pearl Cone. That ought to be a good ball.
That's-
Anderson County's
4.
undefeated. That's the first game of the day, and that's going to be a real game.
If you guys want to watch this, I don't know if it's televised. Like
It
the
is
YouTube
televised.
Okay.
Yes.
And-
58.
I don't know what it
I
is.
think
Yeah.
it's channel 58.
Well, it depends on
What-
you got
yeah.
dish,
Right.
got direct or cable.
But you can get it on the NFHS network as
Right.
well online if you want to go watch those games. But that's fun to watch these
Now,
kids.
Pearl
play.
Cone's got some athletes, folks.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell
they
you
got
what, that's
athletes.
going to be
That ought to be a good ball game.
I agree.
Well, this winds down football season in the at the high school level. Of course, we got the college we're going to talk about later. Let's talk about some other county sports. We've got all 4 basketball programs wound up going full force right now. And right now, Cascade boys are looking tough.
I saw them play Moore County the other night. They didn't shoot the ball well, but they played good ball. Got into some foul trouble, and you thought that they're pretty deep.
They won
They're not-
74-50.
They're not real tall, and we're behind quite a bit of the first quarter. They didn't shoot the ball well, but if they're shooting the ball well and playing, because they play defense, they get after you. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, so they won 74-50 there. And then Monday night they played Rockville and beat them by 3 points.
They've got a young man. Well, he's a senior. His name's Lucas Clanton. Got a chance to break Mark Gilmore's all-time
Wow.
as the leading scorer in Cascade. Got a chance. He's going to have, he may be like Ohio State. Got a chance to get in. You got to have some things. He's going to have to score some points, but he's got a chance, and he's a he's a good player.
The girls in Cascade, they're 1-4 right now. The boys are undefeated. I know the girls lost 2 games this week to Rockville and Moore County.
Very young.
Very
They're playing
young.
a lot of
So
freshmen.
they
They played hard. They made young mistakes.
Yeah, that's part of the growing
But
process.
they never quit battling. They'll get better as the year goes on. You want to play them now instead of later.
Yeah. The Central High Schools is struggling. I think they're rebuilding with both programs there. We got the girls that are 0-4, the boys are 1-5.
I've got to get. If somebody's got them, we would love to have the schedules. Used to you get the little old change purses, or you'd see. It's like everybody hides them anymore. You don't.
They used to have posters.
Yeah, you had the
put
posters,
the score up, and
I don't know.
that's something else I was wanting to talk about this morning. It seems like the enthusiasm for in this area of the state for basketball has dropped down quite a bit.
Well,
it's not like it was back in the early 2000s and before.
The enthusiasm to me for all sports have dropped back, because I remember the days when I was coaching at Central at Shelbyville, packed houses.
Yeah.
Every Friday night.
Every Friday.
Every Friday.
The basketball games packed, but with so much social media and so many other things to do now, people just don't have the interest in the sports anymore, and I don't know why.
It's unfortunate for the kids.
It's unfortunately for the kids.
They're working hard.
Success brings it.
Well,
because when we go back to when we were very successful in basketball, successful in football.
Don't disagree.
And it carries over.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, there's a pretty good crowd at Cascade played Moore County.
Right.
That is always a find a seat if you can. It was Cascade side and it was a Thursday night game. Moore County didn't have hardly as many people as I thought. Cascade had a pretty good following, but
Cascade usually packs their house over there. Used to. It's not like that.
Go back to the Tullahoma Shelbyville football game this year. They just won the state. That was an impressive crowd there. They were tailgating. The place was packed, and they had things going because you're successful.
Yeah.
So I think we've got some success coming. I mean, even look at the middle school right here. My understanding is Harris Middle School, just like in football, they're winning in basketball. So there's some talent coming.
Oh, there's talent. I got to get back out and watch the Harris Middle School team. They're impressive, and their girls are young, but their boys they're impressive.
Well, that's good to know that there's maybe some enthusiasm coming from the ground up here.
And I think the redistricting football is going to help too, because now instead of playing Kenwood and Siegel and Riverdale and whoever, you're going to be playing those old rivalry games, which I think will enthuse everybody and get everybody.
Let's hope.
How will the realignment affect basketball?
I looked at it. It will affect a little bit. I was looking at that the other day. I can't.
Maybe let's research that.
We need that. Might be something that
it's going to be real similar to football.
We might be something that I try to draw up, and we have.
You can get your chalkboard out.
Yeah, get my old chalkboard out. And
well, I don't think your district's going to be in there with Warren County Coffee Can anymore. We're going to be back.
No. I believe
we're going to be back this way.
I still want to believe that Warren and Coffee are in the basketball also. I do.
Well, that would be good. All right, so the community girls, they're winning some games. They're 3-3 right now. Next week, we're going to have Coach Robbie Davis on.
Yep.
We look forward to having him on. And the boys are 0-7. They're struggling. They're rebuilding, but they've had some close games. I look
last night was 65-62,
Yeah.
and he lost the first game 54-50. He's just had some
Yeah.
tough losses.
Yeah.
We're really close.
real close game.
Yeah, it'd be good to have him on next week.
Yeah, and we'll get to hear his take on things. The Webb boys, I told you wrong earlier, Kenny. They're 4-3. They're a good ball team. They played in some tournaments. They've already played 7 ball games. The girls are 2-1. So Webb looks like they're going to be pretty solid this year. They always are.
I'm telling you, going to watch some of their football games at Webb this year. I went to watch them twice. The girls that were walking around in the stands could give the boys football team. They've got some pretty impressive looking athletes at Webb School right now.
Yep.
Well, overall, I think our county basketball teams are in a rebuilding phase outside of our
Webb.
Yeah, and outside of Webb. And we just need to support them. We need to get out to the games when we can. With the holiday season coming up, I know they'll play up to about December 15th, and then there'll be a pause and there'll be tournaments.
No,
And,
there'll be a lot
of tournaments.
Don't know what team's playing where. If there are any coaches watching or watch this video, send us what tournament you'll be playing in so we can get the information out. Right now, it's hard to find anything. I know since the newspaper has gone to 2 days a week, we don't get up-to-date information from
Coach
them
T's
anymore.
about the only place I know to get anything
know,
schedule-wise.
We're talking about, if it weren't for the newspaper, I wouldn't have known that Cascade played on Thursday night the other night.
Yeah.
Even though I live right across the street from the school.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, maybe I can go and get the schedule and post it on Shelbyville NOW
That'd be
website. Keep it there. That way everybody can know. I'll try to get that done this week. Coach T has got the schedules out, the regular season schedule. So I'll try to get that posted so people can have.
They didn't have to score the Shelbyville boys on Coach T's
No.
morning playing Seagull. I know
That's
the girls
what
lost
Gary and I
29-27. There was no score this morning.
What'd you say the girls lost?
29-27 they lost.
Yeah,
2 points last night.
Score Stream had a fourth quarter score of Siegel 43-25. I'm going to assume that might have
Oh, it
been
was bad. I don't know how bad.
Yeah.
My daughter cheers, and she
Well-
said, "Daddy, we got beat pretty good."
Well, Siegel is 1-5. They're boys, so that was their first. Yeah.
Siegel boys, the basketball is what Oakland is to football.
But they're not this year. That's their first win right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
They're
their first
way
one.
down. Let's pause for a second and hear a word from one of our sponsors, Duke Cannon, and we'll be back and we'll be starting to talk about college football playoff and some championship games taking place today. We'll be right back.
A guy who runs hot, it's hard to find relief. Duke Cannon Dry Ice gives you an icy cooling effect that lasts all day without having to do anything crazy. Duke Cannon Dry Ice Cooling Antiperspirant. Crank the cold.
Duke Cannon products are available at the Winter Circle in Shelbyville at 603 Evans Street.
Okay, guys, welcome back in here. We're going to talk about college football, and I guess what everybody around this area is talking about is SEC championship. We've got Georgia playing LSU and Atlanta. And, guys, is this an obvious choice to pick Georgia here, or has LSU got a chance?
Did you watch the USC-Utah game last night?
Yes.
I don't think anything's obvious
I know.
right now.
I know. So,
But here's what I'm going to say about this game. Is I've always said, this is one of my mottos. I've always said, when I was at Cascade, I had a shirt that said it, and I wore it often. Offense wins games, defense wins championships. If you're going to win a championship, you better play defense. Anybody can score, but when you play defense, scoring is occasional. You're good. You can have a bet. When you play defense, you're always consistent.
Yeah.
And you got to watch for the teams that play defense. USC, Utah last night. USC goes in. They're blazing. They're going. Their quarterback's having all kinds of everything. Utah just kept hitting them in the mouth, and hitting them in the mouth, and hitting them in the mouth.
Go back to defense with LSU. When A&M put up 38 on you, you're not playing any defense. And
Yeah.
that's why I don't think this is a ball game. I think Georgia's going to truck them.
All right. By how much? What do you think? Do you think this is
I
going
don't
to be a
think it's
close
going to be
game?
close. I do not. I think it's
I
going to be.
don't think it'll
I
be
do not.
close either. I think Georgia's been holding back a little bit.
I kind of agree with you.
I
do too.
What did they have to what did they have to prove? I think they've been holding back. Georgia's pretty good. They play defense.
Yeah, that's
when you
touchdowns.
play defense,
well. Here's the thing. At the end, does it really matter if the score is
No.
16 to
Doesn't
17
matter.
and you're on top? You won the ball game.
Mhm.
This team reminds me a lot of the early 90s team that Gene Stallings took at Alabama and won the national championship. And that whole year,
when
they
they beat
won by
Miami in the
6.
Super Game,
Yeah.
I was
and
at
they,
that game.
And they pounded them in that game. But getting there, it was nip and tuck. They'd win by 6. They win by 3. They win by 10. And sometimes they'd pull off and beat somebody bad. But their defense was their team. They shut teams out. They just shut them down. This Georgia team reminds me of them. I think it's built around that defensive line, and the defensive backs are playing good enough to keep people out of that end zone.
They play collision defense.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
Play
They play
collision.
good defense.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a game, but you don't. When it gets into these, it's just
You never know. So we're all picking Georgia to win
Absolutely.
that one. All right, we've got Purdue and Michigan. This looks like an obvious game. Michigan carved up Ohio State in the fourth quarter with that offensive line and pulled away. I kind of figured that would happen. Now, you got Purdue, not even a ranked team, coming in playing in a championship game. They have nothing to lose, of course. They're going to pull all the stops out to knock off the big dog.
And I'm gonna tell you, they got a very good coach.
Purdue, yes.
Yes, they
He
do.
is
Yeah.
good, and Purdue are the boiler spur.
Bowler spoilers.
Boiler spoilers. They have won and beaten so many, have won so many games that they weren't supposed to. They play pretty good ball.
Got a good quarterback.
Got a
They've
good
got some good
quarterback.
receivers, and they
Yep.
throw the football really well.
I wouldn't count them out, but I wouldn't go against
Okay.
what
I could see it being close first half,
yeah.
but then I think Michigan's just
Yeah.
going
Michigan's
to
just
take over.
they're
they
gonna
just so
too
physical.
much.
Michigan. Oh, we're going to go with Michigan on that. We got Kansas State, TCU. TCU, to me, has overachieved. They won every game on their schedule, and I look for an upset right here.
Kansas
I'm gonna circle
State.
this game.
Kansas State is solid.
I'm looking
They're
for the
solid.
upset.
I'm
calling
taking
for the
Kansas State
upset.
too. And I'll tell you why. How hard is it to beat somebody twice? The record shit, and they beat them once. It was
Yep.
close. It's really hard that second time. And I
Hey,
think this time Kansas State gets them.
Utah didn't have any trouble beating them twice again last night. You know, that's the only two games. Only team that USC's lost to
Yeah.
was Utah, and they only lost to them twice.
Yeah. 24,
But I'm like
47,
you, Bill.
24.
I think Kansas State,
TCU's sort of been living on the
they've been
verge here
But
for a
I'm going
while.
to tell you right now,
Baylor
TCU's
should have
got
beat them.
TCU's got some athletes,
Yeah,
and
they do.
they get them in space.
Yeah,
Sonny
that's
Dykes
good.
has done, and I believe he's the
Yeah.
coach now at Kansas State. He's done a really nice
Yeah,
job.
he has.
And they're very 50-50. You don't know if they're going to run or throw. They do both well.
And I didn't realize that is it Lincoln Riley is the head coach at USC.
Yes.
Yes,
His brother's offensive coordinator at Kansas State.
I didn't know that.
that's interesting.
Mhm.
The ties that are in college football are wild sometimes. You
And,
look
you know,
around.
TCU the last several years has been known for their defense, where this year it's really been the offense, and their
Right.
defense has not been quite as good as it
Yeah,
was.
And there's a reason for that is they don't have the same coach, Gary Patterson.
Where'd Patterson go?
Why'd you ask me that question? I was trying to figure it out in my head. He is the defensive coordinator, I think, at Texas. I think
Okay.
he's at Texas.
Well, it's like you already mentioned, Utah beating USC, so USC drops out of that top 4.
They're out.
They're out.
They're out.
All right, so then
And
we
you
got.
got to think Ohio State's in. I don't like it, but Ohio State's in.
Ohio State's in.
We're gonna get to that. We got one last
But
game.
if TCU loses, okay, Ohio State's in. Is TCU still in if they lose?
That's crazy.
Yep.
All right.
I think you're right. I think so too.
All right, we got North Carolina and Clemson in the ACC championship, which does not have national implications, but it's a game that Dabo Swinney needs to win. You got North Carolina, and I think North Carolina's going to beat them.
I like
do.
North Carolina.
I'm taking North Carolina in that upset.
I didn't say it last week. I got a lot of Clemson ties. I went to football camp at Clemson back when I was in high school, and I can't root against Clemson. I'm looking for Clemson to win. They play pretty good defense. I don't know what's going on, but something's going on.
I like Dabo, and I'm pulling for him.
He doesn't have the quarterback. He's
But,
had the
but
that's the big difference here. He doesn't have that really good quarterback.
I will never second guess a coach because I coached.
Yeah.
But I believe that guy that's sitting in that number 2 spot is a player.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So if all these things happen that we're talking about, TCU's goes down. We know USC's out. Okay. I crossed them off the board. That leaves Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State. Y'all feel like it's just going to stay like that. Okay. Does Ohio State get ahead of TCU? I think they do.
If TCU loses, it'll be Georgia. This is Parkerism. It'll be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU.
That's the way I see it. Okay.
But
so,
I think the NCAA is not really going to want Ohio State and Michigan playing that quick.
It don't matter.
I think they'd love to split it up somehow.
But they're not going to let them lose and stay where they are. No way.
so that puts 1 and 4 against 2 and 3.
Always one,
So that's
one,
Michigan,
1 and 4, 2 and 3.
So
And
you
that would
got-
be in Atlanta. The other game would be in Arizona, I think, or California.
So that would pair up Georgia against TCU and Ohio State, Michigan again.
Rematch.
Okay. I see Michigan and Georgia playing in the national championship.
I like Ohio State the second time.
Do you? Okay. I don't.
Again, hard to beat somebody twice. Things seem to always work that way.
If they can stay together 4 quarters, they can beat Michigan. But I think Michigan just wears somebody down.
I think they do too.
If they, if you looked at that Ohio State game, you watch, you say, well, Ohio State's going to win this pretty good. First quarter, second quarter, it tightens up. You say, this is going to be a close game. Third quarter, it stays a close game, and you see Michigan starting to take control. And the fourth quarter, bam.
But
Ohio State, if you look at how the recruiting has gone and look at the rosters, Ohio State's got a lot of 5-stars, a lot of athletes. And there would be a revenge factor here. All they'd have to do is really slow the run and not. I just think I would like Ohio State the second time around.
Okay.
yeah, I'm about the same way. I think Ohio State, once the ball got to going bad, the pressure of them winning to be there. No, I think didn't they lose? Did they not lose to Michigan last year?
They did.
Also,
Yeah, they did.
and I think the pressure of that and playing at home, senior night.
I thought playing at home,
But
I thought that was the thing that was working against Michigan. I picked Michigan to win that game, but I thought in my mind, I'm thinking at Ohio State it's going to be tough. But you think that had the opposite effect?
and,
Ohio State still has the better quarterback, and that's why I say in the rematch you might see the
and
difference.
they'll be looser.
Yeah.
This game,
Yeah.
nothing to lose. A little bit of grudge factor.
We're going to have a lot of time to talk about this, guys. So we got
You got another
next
big
3
game that I
weeks.
think the most fun game of the day is
Okay.
UCF and Tulane. You talk about a fun game to watch. There's going to be some points scored
Yeah.
up and down the field. And this is probably the best Tulane team I remember maybe ever. They're really good.
Let's talk about bowl games now. I know we got a lot of Tennessee fans out here that are speculating on what bowls Tennessee will be going to. The projection is Tennessee against Clemson in the Orange Bowl because Alabama will probably go sugar. Isn't that what everybody's thinking?
I would say Alabama will be Sugar because Sugar takes the number 2 team out of according to, and I think that would be Alabama. Clemson in the Orange Bowl.
Shouldn't it technically be LSU?
I mean, no,
because they got 3 losses.
it'll go by. It won't go by the
But
loser of that game. It'll go by the.
If we were
rankings.
running let's say we were running the Sugar Bowl and we were looking to pick the team for the Sugar Bowl.
Well, it ain't no question who I'm picking.
I would take Tennessee because I
Always.
think Tennessee would travel better. I don't know how well Alabama's going to travel to the Sugar Bowl when you're used to the college playoffs.
Well, I understand what you're saying. You don't know whether Alabama's going to have their quarterback
Right.
or their if he plays and the defensive end plays, the outside linebacker. I'm an Alabama fan, but I just
I can tell you right now, Jalen Hurts not going to play for Tennessee because he's
Jalen-
turning pro.
Jalen
And you're Hyatt's not going to
I
play.
could just
Why would the Alabama quarterback play if he's going
Exactly.
pro? Why?
I mean, he's 1 or 2. They're top 3, top 4.
And he tears his ACL. I mean,
Yeah,
there's too much risk there.
I
For the kid.
agree.
Too much
Okay,
risk.
so that brings up a whole nother topic.
That's what is going to be so good as much as I didn't like it, and I don't think they ought to go into the 12 team, because now these better players are gonna play.
Yeah.
When you've got something to play for, a chance to win it, and
So what you're saying is these bowls mean nothing
No,
not anymore.
to the players.
Not anymore to the players. I mean, it's not like
but it does to the coaching staff that gets an extra 30 days
Well,
of practice
they
time.
right.
Means
So
a lot to the
they're
coach.
working on next year.
Right, you're working on next year is what you're doing.
A lot of time. That's
Almost like an
not
early
correct.
spring.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, this week Tennessee lost 4 in the portal. 2 running backs and 2 receivers are gone,
Everybody's gonna
Yeah.
lose them.
and we'll pick up some. But I don't like this portal, this
I
transferability.
don't. You know. I don't necessarily like it either. Because no commitment.
That's it.
No.
We're teaching these kids it's okay to bail, to jump ship.
Well, we give them
And,
give them a trophy every week anyway. So
So that's true.
And even if you had the portal, you ought to have to sit out a year if that's what you chose to do. And that would discourage it.
All right. Let's take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk NFL. We still got a lot of college football to talk for next month, so we're going to be talking about bowls and playoffs. So we'll revisit this and talk some more. And let's take another break now and hear from Duke Cannon.
For a guy who runs hot, it's hard to find relief. Duke Cannon Dry Ice gives you an icy cooling effect that lasts all day without having to do anything crazy. Duke Cannon Dry Ice Cooling Antiperspirant. Crank the cold.
Duke Cannon products are available at the Winter Circle in Shelbyville at 603 Evans Street.
Okay, guys, we're back in here. We're going to talk NFL with, of course, Titans, with our Titans connection here. Mr. Bill, what do we see with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Titans coming up? Anything earth-shattering with the Titans?
The thing I'm going to say is if they continue, Philadelphia, to run their quarterback in power sets the way they're doing, these aren't just sneaks, Coach. They're taking him and ramming him on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and then taking linemen and pushing this kid. Eventually, Hurts is going to get hurt.
Yeah, he's a 5-year and done probably.
Because they're going to ruin this guy's career. And he throws the ball better than people give him credit for. And I'm fine with him rolling out. But those power runs, it's just a matter of time. Somebody like Big Jeff Simmons gets a hold of you, or your own lineman's going to hurt you by doing what they're doing.
well, most of those are quarterback sneak type deals. Most of his some of his runs are designed runs, but the other night when they played the Packers, they were just busts.
Yeah.
On the
Occasionally,
and
it looks
but-
like the
but
old
here-
single wing sometimes
well,
with him.
no, but here's what's happening with Hurts, and the reason, to me, he's able to run like he's running is A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They're good tight end. People are playing a man, and when they're playing a man, they're running their backs away from the quarterback. That opens up all that area. You get through the first line of defense, you're able to chuck those yards. You see that with Mahomes. Even we talked about the young man from USC. When that is whether you like it or not, that's the way the game's going with the mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And the
That's
key
the
for the
way
Titans
the
to
game-
me is use a 4-man rush. You don't no blitzing. You don't want to come at him from the
You
outside.
better keep him
But
contained.
keep him contained and
Yeah,
make him throw the football and play zone. Don't play man.
Well,
Play a lot of zone. And then
See-
see if he can pick you apart.
that's where they're so good.
Yep.
Because they've got about 3 guys that can catch the ball.
They can find them open spots.
When
too.
you try to stop their passing game, their running game is going to hurt you. When you try to stop their running game, that's where Philly, and they play good defense. That's why Philly's 9-1 and arguably the best team in NFL.
Now, Hurts throws a really good deep ball, but I do
Hurts-
think he struggles with the intermittent passes. at
Hurts
times.
is
His
throwing the
accuracy.
ball a whole lot better
He is.
Oh, yeah,
than
he's
people give him credit for.
he's a good
You center,
quarterback.
the Titans center's back, Ben Jones. That's big. The one weakness to Philly's defense is stopping the run, and they've had trouble doing it. But if they get Jordan Davis, I believe the kid from Georgia back, it'll help them a bunch, and I believe he's going to play.
But the thing about you watch, I love Tennessee's defense. They can't stop the pass.
No, they're struggling.
You know, they are.
When you're that good against the run, though, it makes the other team throw more, and your stats are a little bit skewed. The last 6 to 8 weeks, Tennessee's defense has been pretty doggone good.
The third most touchdowns in the air in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And when it gets tough, I don't disagree with them stopping the run, but their secondary to me is
Monty Hooker will be back to safety. That's going to help a bunch.
Here's I think the key factor.
I'm for Tennessee. Don't get me wrong.
Here's the factor, and this came out in the Cincinnati game. I had 3 people just casually talking about football this week. They said, "What's wrong with Derrick Henry?" Nothing's wrong with Derrick Henry.
No.
You can't run when you're blocking 5 against 8 and 6 against 8. They're committing to stopping him.
And you know
Every
what?
time.
And it makes it look bad for Henry that when he comes out, they bring the other guy,
Dontrell Hilliard.
and he breaks off.
They're not.
Their defense is totally
They're not
different.
keying on him.
No.
And you got 5 or sometimes 6 blocking for Henry when you pull that tight end in there and block, and you got 8 in the box.
Henry needs
sometimes
to be
coming
more
up
involved
with
in the passing game. And anybody says he's got stone hands, he does not. His hands are about as good, are just fine.
Here's the thing. They need a couple of receivers that can separate the field. And when you commit that many in the box to stop Derrick Henry, your secondary is playing one-on-one with somebody, and you got to have yours is better than theirs.
Yeah.
But you got
gotta
Traylon
have-
Burks who can create separation. You got a tight end. I think we need to play this Chig, the rookie. He needs to play more.
Yeah.
He can create
And
separation.
And
A
Hooper
lot
is
of tight
playing
ends
well
can't.
too.
Yes, he
If they
is.
target him, he catches that ball.
But now that Burks is out there, all of a sudden Robert Woods looks better at the 2.
All right. So what are you going to predict for this game, Bill?
I think it's going to be another nail biter 24-21 game. It'll go either way, make you want to pull your hair out. Mike Vrabel is an underdog. His record's pretty doggone good.
I hard to say that I'm for Tennessee, but I'm telling you, Philly's good.
Yeah, they're good. I think it's going to be like what Bill says. It wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee don't throw the ball enough to get Henry going. I mean, they got to put the pressure on them to back out of that box. If you can't, Henry's going to have a long day.
I mean, at Green Bay, when I saw the game, the Titans threw the ball very well, but still couldn't run Henry. And the Titans, and Green Bay's defense was not very good against the run this year. But he had 80-something yards.
Yeah.
But he had 40,
toughed it out.
45 or something and catch it.
Yeah, he had a long screen pass that accounted for that. But these little intermediate passes, 5, 6, 7 yard passes that keep moving the chains like they did, is going to be critical against.
If you're going to win, if the Titans win this game, Ryan Tannehill's going to win the game.
Yes, he is.
That's the bottom line.
That's
That's what it's going to come down to.
All right, guys.
Another big game.
Okay.
The Dolphins and 49ers, that ought to be a wonderful game to watch.
where's it at?
It's at San Francisco, and everybody's talking how good. And I agree San Francisco's defense is good, but who they been beating on? The Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals. Tua, how much better? And he's your Alabama boy. Give him some weapons, and I think he looks awesome.
Let's talk about next week. We're going to have an insider from the Green Bay Packers. Aaron's coming
in.
Good.
He's coming in next week. He's going to be sitting with us along with Coach Robbie Davis. We look forward to having those two guys
Absolutely.
here. We're going to have to pull a chair up. We're going to have a big crowd, and hopefully we don't have so much crowd noise going on.
We're good.
We're good, but
That's our audience.
that's our audience. Our live studio audience is rowdy this morning, and we're glad to see them.
Gonna be better next week because it's Christmas time.
Absolutely. We're going to have a Christmas tree next week.
All right.
Yeah, we get to put the star on the tree.
We need to get Ken Claus a good hat.
Yeah, I got him.
Santa
I
hat.
got him one. Hey, right back there. It's right
There you
there, ready. All right, so Kenny's going to be Santa Claus next week. Robbie Davis here. Aaron is going to be here with a lot of insider scoop. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back again. Guys, thanks as always.